Hey, overthinkers. It's Sweets and Lisa here.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, Lisa. It's been a minute. It's good to see your face. How have you been?
I've been good. It's the end of the school year. I know we
Yes.
always start with education calendar, and
Yes.
right now, when we're recording it, we're in May, which some people have been affectionately referring to as Maycember, which seems
Yes.
about right.
Yeah. It's
It's a
still
crazy
a
time
little
of
bit
year.
crazy. I am excited, and it wouldn't be our podcast if I didn't talk about the weather, but the weather is just picking up and it's beautiful and it makes me happy.
Gorgeous. Makes me
So,
happy too. We both
yeah.
love being outside.
Yes. And
It's a
so,
great
like,
place to think about things.
there's nothing like a good walk that, that doesn't serve your soul. Yeah. Like where you can overthink 24/7. So,
Yeah.
I got a word for you today, Lise.
All right, I'm ready.
I think it's appropriate that because it's May and then June, but the word is play.
I like that word.
And yeah, I've been actually thinking a lot about it. And to give more context, I think that I'm really good at being productive and doing things out of a feeling of this is like an obligation or this will get me this way. What really actually started is I was on TikTok, believe it or not, and on my For You page, there were just a lot of people being like, I drink this much water. Or another person was like, I don't drink this because I have to be up at 4:30 every day and check it off my list. And I started to think, of course, in my mind of are we going through the motions of life and just doing, and what happened to play, doing things for the delight of something. And I've been really processing this out loud, and I'm dying to hear what you have to say and just to talk it through with me because I just
Yeah,
have.
as you're going through, I have so many thoughts. I
Okay,
have
good.
so
Yes.
many thoughts of the word play.
Yeah.
So, as we talked about earlier
Mhm.
before the in our
Yeah, we always do.
pre-podcast
We
debrief,
always do before the podcast.
I had the opportunity to take a short trip with one of my daughters this
Mhm.
last weekend, and you know, as a parent, you get really busy doing parenting, and you
Mhm.
get really busy taking care of your house and taking care of making sure kids have what they need, and admittedly, play has definitely been lost um, in the shuffle. And my daughter is 14. I mean, it's not like it's
Yeah,
toddler play and we're running around anymore, but we went to St. Louis and we visited the Arch, and then we went to the City Museum. I don't know if you've ever been there.
I've never been there. No.
Anyone who's not been to the City Museum, it is a museum of play.
Oh,
And there are all kinds of ways for you to get involved in the exhibits and to actually do things that interact with the sculptures and things that are there. And you're crawling through tunnels and you're
that's
hopping from place to
so
place,
cool.
putting your hands in things. And both of us, I think, got a chance to play together and that we haven't had in a very long time. And when you
Right.
said that, it made me think of that opportunity that I just had with my daughter and how wonderful it was for me to learn about her through that way and for her to learn about me that way.
Yeah.
And it doesn't happen all the time. And it made me think I need to do this more often.
Yeah. So I'm wondering like what your energy level felt like. Like I know that seems like a very
No,
like
it's a great question.
yeah, but I'm just curious.
Well, because I of course was thinking about it as I was going through this,
Yeah.
and my initial, I think always in my life, even as a kid, I've
Yeah.
been very hesitant to get involved and to do things that are outside of my comfort zone. I've never been physically a person that feels comfortable like going outside of doing what I feel comfortable with doing. And I
Yeah.
could feel that energy in me building, like a little bit of a tension
Yeah.
and being nervous and almost a little scared, like this is not me. I'm
Yeah.
very, you know what I do for a
Yeah.
living,
I
what
do.
we do.
Yeah.
And so it took a bit for me to calm that energy down and for me to let go of the perception of myself or the ways in which I control how I talk or what I'm doing with my body physically throughout the day, and it made me realize how much energy I spend doing that.
Yeah.
And for me to let go of that took some energy, but once I let it go and just was like, we're here and I'm just going to enjoy and try to do things that I'm not used to doing, it was very freeing. And my energy level stayed up. It wasn't draining. It
Yeah.
wasn't draining to me like I feel at the end of a work day. More energized, and yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I feel as though it is an energy that sustains you even after the event itself,
Yes.
because I do feel like it's so rooted in authenticity. I know that's an overused word, but really like in this like just freeing, like there's no rules, right? There's no rules on how this should go. You're not trying to control anyone's mood. It's just pure, unadulterated, just fun, just like being, just a level of being, you know?
Yes. And choosing a place where everyone else is in the same spot was helpful too,
That's interesting.
because you're not the only one taking chances. You're not the only one with that energy in the room. And
Yeah.
so I could see myself, if I put myself in a position where people were attacking things in different ways, that I might lean towards a more hesitant thing. It was just the whole atmosphere was built for that. Like it
Yeah.
was built to engage you that way, and so it didn't feel weird. It didn't feel uncomfortable at all, and there's no sense of insecurity or weirdness. So
You
choosing the
know,
right place for that is important.
yeah, I was gonna say you're making me even think about how like sometimes, yes, the environment, but like how we can even open ourselves up to be more playful, just in right by changing the atmosphere of like where not just even where we're at, but how we are, right? Like it's this opportunity to just be like, I'm gonna be a little bit less. I use this word, but rigid, right, in terms of my actions.
Well, and I think about now, like transitioning to work.
Mhm. Yes.
I do think that I intentionally try to use humor. We've worked
Yeah.
together before.
Yes.
I intentionally
We
try
have,
to
we
like
have.
have levity and do those things, but that's a different energy because I'm trying to insert that into an atmosphere where it maybe isn't there. And so
Yeah.
that takes a different level of energy and intention. And I actually, it feels good to me to have people laugh and feel good around me, but I don't get fed.
Yes.
It doesn't energize me, it drains me a bit because it's hard work to to
Yeah. Yes, it is. Yes. I think I was noticing the difference, and I'm glad you just said that example is like what it means to be on and
yes.
still providing a level of playfulness to people. But there's a difference of when you yourself are in the play
Yes.
that actually there's like a release where it's actually pretty equal. Like everybody's contributing to that sense of, just like freedom, I guess, where it's still not you being like, let me make sure everybody's feeling comfortable or
Yeah.
whatnot.
That's a great distinction. That's exactly what I was thinking about. And then the other thing it makes me, I have so many different paths.
Yeah, no,
The
please.
next thought I have is, recently we went to Stanford. I went with another district and we did some work on AI
Yeah.
and saw their facilities, which are beautiful and amazing. And within the tours of the university setting, the instructors, the facilitators were talking to us about how many opportunities they provide to
Hmm.
their students to play. Because the students that wind up in this program are 100% the cream of the crop, right? They're the like top students from everywhere
Hmm.
who have done everything they're supposed to do. They've gone through all of the work. They've gotten all the coursework done. They've done all the internships, the service projects, and everything. And they get to this university and they are not experiencing joy in learning. And so they have to build in structures and atmospheres where play is encouraged and where everyone is playing, to, like just what we
Yeah.
talked about. And
Yeah.
the reflection that I had with my team was not necessarily, I mean, yes, it's great, but the reflection we had was we're a little backwards.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
here we are with kindergartners and we're stressing about the reading and the phonics and the math and the social emotional learning and are we getting them into STEM and science and music and are we doing and we structure the play right out of them,
Yeah.
where it's like, can we spend more time in that play part all the way through,
Yeah.
so that they are experiencing joy in the learning process all the way through. Like it almost made me sad because of the way they were presenting how these students were coming to them.
Yeah. I wonder, so that really resonates with me because I have been trying the last week. Look at me, I've accomplished so much trying to play more because I've come into like, again, with my overthinking a bit of like that I've like life has become a little robotic where I'm getting things that obligations done, tasks done, and one of my actually favorite things in the world is to be very relational and to actually not have an agenda, right? And just kind of flow. And I've noticed that I haven't, when I do that, when I'm not doing that enough, I actually get stifled in my thinking. My thoughts don't flow as uniquely as they can. I don't feel as creative, and there's just like it really stops me. And the more and more I thought about that, I thought, God, and I know that people have done a lot of research on this, like Brene Brown being one of it. But I was thinking about how I really actually need to remember play in all things. It doesn't need
Yeah.
like because I think a lot of what I'm doing in my mind and it closes me off more. And I think what, like when you were talking about the students, we want them to actually be open to learning, but because like if we've taken out too much of the play part, like they might not be able to even like hold that expression because it's like this is next. This is next. Like, oh, I have to drink 6 bottles of water. Like, no, have you tasted the water? Like, have you do you know what water feels like when after a long workout or whatnot, and you drink a cold glass of water? Like, we're losing our experiences for the idea of like the taskmaster of feeling accomplished because we think that that is achievement or success. And I'm just wondering is like, it's the opposite. I think you can actually get more out of yourself when you loosen the grip of what you think life is supposed to be like.
No, I totally agree. But there's safety in that, don't you think?
Yeah.
Like there's safety in thinking you're doing the right thing at that moment. Because right now, I think it's so precarious, right? We all have so much anxiety
Yeah.
about, I mean, right? Like you and I have talked about a scarcity mindset, right?
Yeah.
Like that we all have a scarcity of time, or we have a scarcity of energy, and or there's feelings about the way our lives are going when we think about social media and comparing ourselves to others. Like the anxiety and the overthinking is so
It's so palpable.
present
Hmm.
and palpable all the time, that like you, whether it's real or not, which I don't think it is, I think that's what we're talking about. It's
Hmm.
not real, but grounding yourself in these rules
Hmm.
and doing the things that you think you're supposed to do
Hmm.
feel safe and comfortable and productive, and you don't have a sense of shame about
Yeah.
wasting your time or
Yes.
not being serious or not contributing to your future. Or I think about that all the time with, as adults, work-life balance.
Yes. Yeah.
Should we have to talk about that as much as we do, or are we literally indoctrinating kids as early as they can remember to not have a work-life balance? You go
Yeah.
to school all day, and then you have homework, and then you have extracurriculars, and then
Yeah.
you go to bed. And
Yeah.
it's like, when is rest and when is play? And
Yeah.
do we actually value those things as part of a healthy human experience?
Yeah. I wonder if it's less and less now. I haven't read many articles of it, but I've seen it, right? Like where people are talking about the optimizing generation, right? Like optimizing leverage of every sorts. And like, when I think about how I was raised, and I know it's cliche, but like we were outside
Mhm.
for forever, and then we came home when we came home or whatnot. And it wasn't this, I was never thinking, I don't remember in childhood ever thinking, what's the next thing that I have to do? Like I was never thinking through those things as much as I do now. And I wonder, even now that I've attached to some of these ideas, I wonder, is it because I've also drank the juice of like everybody being like, you got to look this way and it's got to be this way. And I wonder if I've separated more from my truest version of myself because of that. Because the example I told you before we got on was, so I used to, way back, like a long time ago in college, later on, I used to love writing poetry. I just do. And I just, but like, I'm like, who has time for that garbage, right? Like, So, like, interestingly enough, for an experiment just for this, I actually was writing some poetry this week, and I started to, like, I don't know, weirdly, like, I kind of laughed at it. Like, I was like, God, this feels so different than, and I woke up this morning, though, like, feeling like a little lighter of sorts, and maybe it's a placebo effect, but just to let myself do something that isn't for everyone else, or because it's going to lead me to something else. How many times a day do we do things just because, for the joy of it, for the delight in the play of it, right? And I wondered if we asked people that, how much people would really say yes to that, right?
I don't know many people who would say that that's a natural part.
Yeah.
At least not in my age group at this point. And I think even, I have a 21-year-old son who I think plays with his friends still. They still do things together as a group.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder at what point, and maybe this is a natural flow of like the human experience, you build up and you make the life that you think you want. And that's where the midlife developmental stage kicks in, when you say like, what have I been doing all this for? I've lost the spark, I've lost the enthusiasm, and I need to do something else that's fun and engaging.
Yeah.
I've said this for a long time. I think that it's a bit dark to call everything, to call that phase a midlife crisis. I don't think it has to be. I think it's a developmental phase of like, looking at your life at this point and saying, okay, where am I? And where is the joy in what I'm doing? And can I make some tweaks or changes, or even big changes, to refocus? And I think that's what we yearn for, is the fun and joy and spontaneity and play, right?
Yeah, I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I think like there should be an all call for something like that, like more of that. You've mentioned this a lot, but I thought about this week about, and it's in articles everywhere, that the world has not created enough friction for us anymore. Mm-hmm. And we can do things so easily, and really honestly don't need to leave. Do you know what I just found out? There's an app, one of my coordinators said, there's an app called Dwell Social that you can get. You don't even need to go to the city anymore. There's restaurants in the city that they have a pickup time that they bring, like Cafe Baba Riba, like could bring stuff here to the suburbs. I just need you to know that, right? So I mean, these are the things. So I only say that as like, right, the world is giving up, like literally delivering things to our doors. And I've just, like pickpocketed on articles that it talks about, like, those are the things, those friction pieces of like meeting someone like bumping into someone at the grocery store, or those impromptu things. That's even a level of play, because they're not planned and they can be joyous and different, versus I'm getting DoorDash at the beginning of the day, then I got to go work out, then I got to, do my email. And those things are still important. Like working out is important, doing a good job at your job is important, but it's those pieces. And so I've been asking myself, in addition to plays, like, where can I actually add more friction to my life that I've eliminated because I don't want it? And
I don't think you've eliminated it. I think technology has eliminated it. I just heard about an article it was written a while ago, called The Elimination of the Human or something. It was something like that. Okay. And basically the argument is that every piece of technology has taken away a little bit of human interaction. So in other words, the example that was used on this podcast, The Daily this morning in New York Times, is about, you don't have to go to a bank teller to get, you don't have to talk to anyone to get cash. You don't have to talk to anyone to get music, or you don't have to go, to even talk to anyone to check out your groceries or check out your library book. Like, there's a way to do all of that without interfacing with a human being.
So scary. Yeah.
And it's friction, which can ultimately relate or result in connection.
Yeah.
That's that. So the happiness research, right? Like there's the two different kinds of happiness. There's the happiness in the moment, and then there's lasting and true happiness, and a lot of that comes from human connection, and also a balance. Like I think we talk a lot too about how I think what you started the conversation with was that it sounds like you were feeling out of balance, right?
Yes.
There is a place for solitude. There is a place for meditation. There is a place for alone time, and there is a place for connection and play and rest and work. And like life should be made up of a balanced, helping of all of those things.
Yeah.
And I think we lose balance, right?
Yeah.
So we lose focus on that.
I was thinking a lot about anxiety and depression, and those things exist. Obviously, I'm a therapist. I believe that those things exist. But I also thought about, in general, when you are feeling down or there's a level of anxiety, I wonder if like the imbalance sometimes is because not enough friction, not enough play. So,
Well, and to that point, we don't, as humans, we didn't have choices before necessarily about interacting with people.
no,
You
right?
had to. And that was probably frustrating. Like, I wish I didn't have to, because that's why they invented the technology, because obviously sometimes those interactions are terrible.
Yeah. And sometimes they're hysterical in a story to tell, right? So, yeah, I
So
mean,
the other thing that this made me think of when you brought up play was just an idea that I've been having recently because of our overthinking natures of us always, and we've said this since we met, we're always interested in self-improvement and getting better, knowing more, and those kinds of things. Thought I've been having recently is how the more I listen to things and read things, the more I realize there's very little that is new. And I think we know this. There's no new thoughts under the sun. Nobody's really, it's rare to have a new development or something that nobody's ever thought of before.
Yeah.
And so in a way, it felt good. Like everyone's, like as a species, like as a big human community, we've had these thoughts before, and it felt a little bit like we don't have to solve everything. We can just exist and be together and enjoy the privileges that we have or the challenges that we have, because they're all going to go away at some point in our lives.
Exactly. And then we're not missing out on something, right? One person can say one thing and another person can say the same thing, but you might hear it best from somebody else, but it's still the same thought, and someone else's experience may just contribute differently. But yeah, I agree, right? Like that we don't always have to run our race with a level of urgency to get somewhere in this false perception of always self-improvement, because the reality is if we got even quiet enough or played enough, the answer might even be within. Like we might actually have some wisdom that we haven't even tapped into because our mind hasn't allowed it, because we're so busy with everything else. So it's so I'm going to practice this more. I might have an update. I might bring this word back up in a couple of months, because if I end up on a beach somewhere just writing poetry and you're like, who's that? Where'd she go? So
I'll be reading it.
Yes,
I'll be reading
sure.
it.
Yeah.
Man, I loved this conversation. That was a great word.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening and overthinking with us. Don't forget, you can always send us a word or two to think about with you. Otherwise, we're going to close the tabs up right now, and we're going to give ourselves some grace for being out of balance sometimes. And we'll see you next time.
Yeah. Bye.